on this episode of the Grand Circle Tour podcast.
My kids would kill me if I went to Disneyland without them. That's why I haven't. Like, they would literally kill me.
They created this version of Main Street that has a history based around Mickey and Minnie.
Whatever on Main Street, I hear you in my head saying, look
up.
And I do, and I really never did.
Hooray! A land of warm, welcoming colors and old-fashioned Victorian-styled buildings, Main Street USA is the first land to greet visitors to the happiest place on earth. Here, in an atmosphere of turn-of-the-century America, you can answer alarms in 1900-era fire engines, putter around in 1903 vintage automobiles, enjoy riding open-air double-deck buses of the type used in major cities at the beginning of the century, or experience the fun of riding a real horse-drawn streetcar. Here, as you walk the length of this memory-filled land, you'll enjoy listening for the bongs and pings of an old-fashioned penny arcade, the rich harmonies of barbershop quartets, the bright, spirited rhythms of marching bands, the easy-listening melodies of town square concerts, the rinky-tink melodies emanating from Coca-Cola's refreshment corner, and certainly most memorable of all, the hiss, chug, and puff of the old-fashioned iron horse and the station master's accompanying cries of "Port!" Of course, no Main Street, be it young or old, would be complete without a variety of shops, stores, and restaurants. Of a time when the old-fashioned candy store was one of the most frequented places in town, and fresh, hot popcorn was a popular street corner commodity. All this awaits you along Disneyland's Main Street USA. Enjoy it and linger as long as you like.
I'm just so used to Jay just like trying to sneak it in there.
Okay, and this is how we start our show. Welcome to the show, guys, the Grand Circle Tour podcast. This is Mindy, as many call me Miss Mindy, and I am your VIP tour guide this week. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am with my two favorite co-hosts, and this show is number 178 to the Grand Circle Tour. So tonight we have our mission commander, Justin, with us. Justin, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks for asking.
And also our ringmaster, Holly, our gorgeous Holly. How are you, Halls?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. It's kind of been a crazy, hectic week. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
I feel like I blinked and it was like already time to do another show, you know? It's just, I just can't keep my days straight. Like, wait, what?
I couldn't wait for the kids to go back to school, but I'm exhausted and I'm not even the one going to school. It's like kicking my
funny.
butt. Like,
my kids have been at school for over a month and a half now, and they're actually rolling into the end of the first semester. So they only have a couple weeks left, and then we're going to Disney World for 3 weeks. So that's during their whole break, because we do year-round school here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it works great. So that's good. Do you guys have a waltz up today? I'm going to throw you guys for a loop.
I do.
Okay, good. So those that don't know, if we have any new passengers with us, we do a waltz up every week. And our waltz up is whatever we have that has to do Disney related in our lives, whatever it may be. Disney news, we got something fun in the mail, or we just want to talk about Disney. So that Disney little thing in our life is what we call the waltz up. So Holly, what's your waltz up?
Well, we know what's happening this week is the Magic Keys are going on sale. So finally, Disneyland is selling their annual passes again. So that's a big deal. But the crazy thing is I'm actually not going to buy it this week.
Me either.
Shocking, right?
Right?
But because every day I've been looking at the wait times like a weirdo.
Right.
And they've been like non-existent. So I figured I'm going to slip in one more day to Disneyland before the APs go on sale and those wait times skyrocket. So
that's funny.
I think we're going to play hooky from school and go on Tuesday. So that's
the thing is, like, I'm not going to do it because we have 66 days, because they're giving us 66 days to do it in the first, little while to get the little perks. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to get to Disneyland before our trip just because it's chaos from here on out. I've got a store opening next week, and that's just chaos in itself. So,
and it's not like you just drive an hour and you're at Disneyland. You have it's like a big.
It is.
I mean, you can do it in one day, but it's not like
relaxing. We have done that. Like literally gotten up, gone to Disneyland, come home, but I don't think I'll ever do that again. It's exhausting.
It's not worth it.
So we have to stay the night. But with that said, I'm too cheap to go to Disneyland for one day. So we've been holding out for these magic keys to come out so we could go and take the kids. My kids would kill me if I went to Disneyland without them. That's why I haven't. Like they would literally kill me. So we're just hanging on to the time we can get them, so we're gonna get them. But I'm so happy you're getting your key, and I'm always jealous of you going to Disneyland. I miss home so bad, but I'll get back there. It'll be there when I get back from Disney World. I'm so excited to go to Disney World. Justin, what's your waltz up this week?
So my waltz up is a bit of a follow up to last week's waltz up. So last week I was saying I finally broke down and bought the mounts that I need to hang my Star Wars lightsaber from the Savi's workshop at Galaxy's Edge on the wall. And so this week my waltz up is I got my Savi's workshop lightsaber hung up on my wall with the the Star Wars sign that I had bought ages and ages ago just for this purpose to hang above it. So,
on the wall.
And
I love that.
It
on
looks
the wall. And
really
so
good too.
It looks really nice. It's right above. In my office here, I have a closet, and it's like right above the closet door. It's perfect.
It's a perfect fit where you have it. It looks really good. So I have a question about that. Since Caden, it's like his lifelong dream. He hasn't done it at Disneyland. So his big thing was like, okay, go get your $200 lightsaber. How can we take it on the plane home? Because that's the biggest question. I haven't even looked into that. I'm like, I hope so.
Well, what I did actually, because we were staying on property, right? So
you made it at Disney World or Disneyland?
I was at Disney World, not at Disneyland. But so I was staying on property at Disney World, and so I took my lightsaber to the gift shop there at the Grand Floridian, actually, because that's where we were staying. And had them ship it back to us.
Oh, I see.
And it really wasn't that expensive. I mean, and they packed it up really well, and it got here just fine. So that is absolutely an option if you don't want to have to try to carry it. And basically, I mean, when we were going, a lot of times we do this. We have our 2 carry-on bags all the time. So I have like my backpack and my carry-on, right? Yep. So I don't want to add something else to that if I don't have to. So yeah, that is always an option. Disney.
Well, the thing is, I do not pack light at all. In fact, I'm bringing. I don't pack light. In fact, I myself have 3 check-in bags that I'm bringing alone. You guys, it's 16.
Well, I believe if you go to like in Galaxy's Edge, even, and I think this is true of both Disneyland and Disney World. If you go into there's a couple of the shops. I know Doc Ondar's is one of them.
Okay. Does it come apart? Can you take it apart and just so you can at least put it in the check-in bag?
You can.
Or does he have to carry it on?
The blade does come apart from the handle. So that is a way you can minimize it a little bit if you need to. I have seen you can actually order the blade separately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not going to want to do that.
Right.
He'll carry that thing around everywhere with him. He's all prepared.
I'm sure, like, if you really think about it, when you've flown before, everybody around you has them as their carry-on.
That's true.
It's a normal thing to have
they
them.
do.
Like, if you're flying from Orlando, that doesn't even
you see them all sticking up out of the back of the chairs.
Exactly. So yeah, he would have to carry it on, but
okay.
Maybe some of our passengers have some tips too.
Tips on how to get it home.
Your 2 options are: one, you probably can take it with you as a carry-on. If you're not, like I say, like us, if you don't already have like 2 things that you're taking with you, that can be your second. But shipping it back is also an option. And that's
we'll
totally
look
an
into
option,
that.
and it's not that expensive.
Thanks for that tip. Definitely. Well, my waltz up, I think it was just has to go in line with that. We have 29 days to go, and we found out that this week that Space 220 is actually going to be opening while we're there. So we're going to do everything we can in those 3 weeks to get at least one reservation just so we can go eat at that amazing restaurant and also watch this whole Genie Plus thing transform, because we're going to go before and we're going to go wake up and Genie Plus is going to be there after, right? So we're going to experience the park with both. So we'll see what happens. Funny. We'll see how long the line is to guest services when it starts.
Oh, goodness.
I am definitely looking forward to seeing that Space 220 restaurant. That is something that just looks amazing to me. I think that's going to be awesome to experience.
You'll have to video. And you signed up for that subscription, for that dining alert.
Mouse Pros.
So that should probably really give you a leg up.
So here's the thing. Our passengers, if you need a dining reservation, get Mouse Pros. I signed up. It's $6 and you can have up to 50 searches, not per search, just a month. It's $6 a month and you can have 50 searches. I was sweating that we were not going to get California Grill for Cecily. And then I started thinking about it. It's Brandon's birthday. And my mom wanted to go with my dad. And I hate to say this, I have 9 reservations saved right now for California Grill until they are like, which ones do we want in the times? Like, it just keeps dinging. So when it pops up in my phone at 3 a.m., I'm like, book. I'll figure it out later.
So if anybody needs a reservation
California Grill, please hit me up.
Yeah.
Because I will release them. I promise they're getting released, but I have 9 saved right now. I'm so embarrassed to say that. I am hoarding them. I feel bad, but they will be released as of this week. So other people can get them. But get your Mouse Pros because it works. It definitely works. It's gotten us reservations to Oga's Canteen. We got one for 3 for Beaches and Cream. It gave us 3 different times, and 4 to Chef Mickey's. So all of those keep popping up. I've had them all stored. I just don't know which one we're going to take. Just kind of have to sit down
and for Disneyland too?
It does. Okay. So, yeah.
I have not been able to get into Oga's.
Do Mouse Pros.
I'm constantly checking. And
well, that's what it does. Anything. So think about if you were on your phone and literally just hitting refresh. Yeah. It just does that. And what happens, it almost, I don't want to say it saves it for you, but you click on the link, it'll text it. So you open the text and you click on the link in the text and it takes you straight to that reservation. Nice. So all you have to do is put in your name and user ID and password and you hit enter and it takes you to that reservation. You just hit yes, like reserve, and it's done.
Okay, cool.
So it's all reserved. So there's my tip. Use Mouse Pros. It's better than all the rest of them. Like I use touringplans.com as well, but you only are allowed to have 2 searches. This literally gives you 50. So I have a whole bunch of searches going on at the same time, and it just will text you in the middle of the night. Just make sure your little ding is on your phone, your alert. It'll come at 3 a.m. It'll come at midnight.
No, I have to turn my phone off because otherwise at 3 a.m. I'm getting a Baby Yoda meme from Jason.
Yes, I know. That too. That too. It happens. But so I do get tired. I keep my phone next to me. It's really sad, like, because I can hear it that way. And I'm like, oh, reservation. So I'm like, tiny reservation. So I'll wake up real fast and turn on. So I know we kind of went off a tangent, funny. But it works.
That's fine. We do have a topic for this week, though, so we should probably get to that at some point.
I know. That's why I was like, we went on a tangent of Mouse Pros. Guys, let's get back on topic because we are talking about my favorite, and I don't want to say it's a land, but in turn, it's a land to me. I could sit here all day with my bag of popcorn and just people watch. Guys, we're going to talk about Disney's Main Street USA.
Woohoo!
Main Street USA, can I just stop and say, Main Street is America at the turn of the century, crossroad era. The gas lamps and the electric lamps, the horse-drawn carriages, the auto cars, it's everyone's hometown. It's the heart of America. And Walt Disney himself said that. So, at Disney, Main Street USA is 2 blocks of charming turn-of-the-century nostalgia. And it was actually based off Walt's childhood as what he remembers Main Street being. Because we all grow up and we have that image on our head of what, we thought it was. So he was from Marceline, Missouri, and if you look at Marceline, Missouri, it really doesn't look like Disneyland. It just looks like a old Main Street USA. It's just Main Street USA was how he built it in his head, like this overindulgence of, you know what I mean? Just
this was very much nostalgia.
Yes.
For the past. From the 50s. So this is like
correct.
Nostalgia for the 1920s from a 1950s perspective, basically.
Right. So let's start here. I'm going to throw you under, we're going to throw this to you. I want to give one. So let's go around and give one.
A few moments later.
My brain isn't working. Not a tip. One fact. Here we go. One fact about Main Street USA that you can give our passengers, and I will start mine. So something like this. So my fact is Main Street, all at Disneyland. We'll talk about Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. So, but Disneyland's was built for in 1955. But when it was open, they got all of the lamps, the posts. From they bought them. They were used for 5 cents each for the lamp posts, and they rebuilt them and they redid them. So the gas lamps really are old and they really do work, and they saved them. So at the bottom, it actually tells you where they're from. If you go look at the lamps and the light posts and everything around Main Street USA at Disneyland, it'll tell you where they're from because they bought them used. And it's a really cool fact about
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
I will give you one of my favorite facts about Magic Kingdom's Main Street, and that is that the ice cream parlor it was specifically put at the end of Main Street.
Okay.
And Walt's the window is right there at the top of that because they wanted that to be his space. They originally intended the upstairs to be a working space for Walt because they knew how much he loved ice cream. And so they gave him a spot where he could see the castle, and whenever he wanted, go downstairs and get some ice cream. And that is why the Plaza Ice Cream Shop is right there at the end of Main Street looking out at the castle.
That is so cool.
I did
have
not
to check
know
that out. I didn't know that either. Thanks for that tip. See, we're sharing tips we didn't know of each other. So, Halls, what's your tip or your fact?
So recently I went to Griffith Park, right? And
Yes.
for the first time ever, which is sometimes I blow my own mind that I live in Southern California and I haven't been to these magical places, right?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me.
Right? So obviously we know the story how Walt sat on the bench, but did you know that bench is now at Disneyland?
Yes.
So that's, and what's crazy is I don't think you can see it personally unless you go on the tour.
I've sat on it.
Yeah, so I saw your picture that you shared, which is pretty cool. But you can only see it, I believe, because it's in the window at the train station, right?
The one at Disneyland, it's actually in the cinema where you go in. It's like it's roped off. So the the thing is, it's just got a rope around it, and
That's crazy.
one of the old carousel horses is next to it. So when you walk into the cinema and you go watch the President, Mr. Lincoln, it's right there in the front. And the cast member overheard me because we had just taken the tour with Bob Gurr, and it goes to Griffith Park and you get to go around. And there's actually, the thing was there were 4 of those benches at Griffith Park when he sat on this bench.
Mm-hmm.
So the 4 benches, they're dispersed. So one of them is at Disneyland and the other one is still at Griffith Park and says, this is the bench Walt sat on. So it may not have been, but there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
So with that said, I didn't know which one it was. I just wanted to sit on it. So she overheard me and she was like, she moved the rope back and she goes, go ahead, go sit on it and take a picture. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, wait, what? I just sat on the one over there, and you're gonna let me sit on this one too? So it was
More
kind
proof
of
that the cast members can just bring so much magic to your day.
Exactly.
So true.
Exactly.
so you just have to ask, and if they're nice cast members, I'm sure they'll let you go sit on it. But that's where it's at, and
Because
it's
they
pretty
understand
amazing.
what it
Right.
means to us fans for these things. Yeah.
Yeah, and some
So-
people look at it like it's a bench. No, it's more than a bench.
Exactly. Just like that carousel, even though the rough state
And that
it's
carousel goes so fast. It's like you have to hang on. Like, it
That's
goes
so
so
funny.
fast. Yeah.
in. It's so
Yeah,
funny.
it goes fast. So we're going to just talk about some facts now about Main Street USA and share some of those facts with our passengers and what we love most about it, or just stories or anything we want to talk about. So Justin, what do you have to say about Main Street?
Well, one of the things I was going to bring up, because since I'm here, I'm going to bring up a little different perspective, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Mickey Avenue in Shanghai Disneyland, just because
Oh.
that's their version of Main Street.
They don't have a Main Street there? It's called
they
Mickey
have
Avenue?
a Main Street, but it's called Mickey Avenue.
Really?
Interesting.
Here's the thing. It's
I
like,
did not
because
know that.
for us, our Main Street, right, is 1920s nostalgia from a 1950s perspective. So we have that nostalgia. China, the people in China don't have that same perspective. And so what they had to do when they created their version of Main Street is create something that the people of China could relate to. And so what they did
Okay.
is they created this version of Main Street that has a history based around Mickey and Minnie.
What?
So it's like, I'm trying to remember. I think it's Minnie's grandparents had a farm in this area and the town grew up around it. And so,
What?
so you see like remnants of that old history and Mickey being the mayor at one point. And so it has this whole different history.
Now I'm going to have to go
More
YouTube
to the
this.
point, when you walk in right away in the morning, you have the main characters right there for your meet and greets as you walk in at rope drop.
How cool.
You have your Mickey, Minnie,
A few moments later.
Donald, all of those kind of characters right there on their version of Main Street as you walk in. And again, part of the reason is because the people of China did not have as much exposure to the
They
old
wouldn't know what a
cartoons and
Main
such
Street was in
that
USA.
we did here in America.
Right.
So this was a way that they came up with to
But they know
introduce
Mickey,
the people
yeah.
of China to these characters as they walk into the park and bring them into this story right away. And so that is something I thought would be an interesting way, something else to talk about that I thought the two of you maybe wouldn't have brought
No,
up.
yeah, that's
So-
a good one. I just have to say that Justin said he wasn't prepared for this. And once again,
Right?
this is me winging it. All right.
yeah, he's like, I did
Show
so much
off.
research. And I'm like, oh, sure, Justin, sure.
We love Justin.
Right.
Good job, Justin. That was wow. I'm gonna really have to go YouTube this now because I have never heard of that.
And yeah,
so.
that totally makes sense.
The details and everything there in their version of Main Street, and like I say, they call it Mickey Avenue because it's not really Main Street in the way we think of it
Wow.
in terms of like Magic Kingdom or Disneyland proper. But it there's a lot of details, a lot of interesting things that they brought in from a lot of different the cartoons and whatnot. It's really fascinating. So if you do ever have a chance to go there, I would highly recommend it. But yeah, that's something I wanted to kind of bring up as a little different perspective.
That is a great one. Holly,
I like it.
what do you have to tell us about Main Street? What's another one?
Well, something that I saw today, and I haven't seen that it's confirmed by Disneyland yet,
Okay.
but it seems like it is true, was Main Street photo supply is going to be changed. So we know over the years, things come and go. Like they used to sell bras, right? On Main
Right.
Street.
Yep.
They used to sell tobacco. So
Magic
things-
supplies.
so they do have to change as times change. And so now they're seeing, as we know, they used to sell film in there, right?
Remember that when
Yes.
you run out of film and you'd be like, oh, I have to go buy another roll for $12.
Right. So,
To get
so then it's
for
kind
the
of
youngins in the audience here. It's like that is to be able to take 24 pictures.
Yeah.
Just 24.
And they used to actually sell cameras too. So
Yeah,
if you
so
forgot your camera, the little throwaway ones, you could go buy those too. Or you could even have them develop your pictures while you are there. They actually used the photo studio store for something more than just looking
1
at
hour,
your
what is it, Photo Mart or something?
right. More than because now they just have kiosks inside of them where you just go look at your pictures and
So
you can go order your
photo pass.
photos.
You can have them printed there, but most people aren't even doing that anymore. You're just
It's not really used anymore. It's not used for anything than to walk through.
Yeah, it makes sense. So what I saw was that they were going to be changing it over to more of a Christmas theme store, which of course I like the idea, but we'll see. So once again, something's changing on Main Street, and I mean, I really believe that could be true, but once I didn't look, I just saw the article and I didn't confirm it because today was kind of busy, but I totally believe this, and I think that, I mean, I love the Christmas idea of it, having a whole Christmas store right there. I know we have the other one by Peter Pan, but I don't know. We'll see. So
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Well, everybody loves to get a Christmas ornament to take home. I think that's a big nostalgic thing that people take home as a souvenir. Like, oh, we got to get a Christmas ornament so we remember our trip and do that. I get one every time I go to Disney World or on the Disney cruise. So we take one home, and I even have one hanging in my car rearview mirror. Like, we just put a cute little ornament up there, and I love Christmas ornaments.
More shopping for me. I'm on board with that. I don't know. Maybe we could, on another episode, talk about what it should be or something. But I mean, more shopping, I'm good with that.
I guess is what they're going to be. I love it. So I guess going off, there's so many things about Main Street, and what I love is that most people don't really even know that it happens, but every single day they do a live flag retreat on Main Street. And the flag retreat it can be moving too. They always have somebody, or they say, okay, anybody here that was in the Army or the Navy or some type of, they really do reach out and honor our veterans. And it's every day at 5:00 on Town Square. If you're a veteran of the military, you can go to City Hall and ask about acting as the Veteran of the Day. But usually they pick a Veteran of the Day there, and you help with the lowering of the flag ceremony. And that gets really touching. If you just have a moment to take the time, it's at sunset. It's so powerful, and it's so patriotic just to stand there. And it is a real flag ceremony, and they do it every single day, and it can bring a tear to your eye. It's pretty emotional. But they do have a Veteran of the Day that they pick, or that they have picked for the day. So that is a great part of Main Street. So back to Justin. What is another part that you love about Main Street?
Well, kind of going off of that a little bit. One of the things I absolutely love about Main Street is the Dapper Dance. I love the Dapper Dance. They do the whole barbershop quartet, and they do this at both Magic Kingdom and at Disneyland. They are fantastic showmen. They come out, they sing their songs. They are funny. They're actually hilarious. They are. I have a few recordings of them that I've taken myself, and even when you do that, they love to play to the camera when they can.
Yes.
When you're there for, like, say, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, or I guess now it's called Boo Bash, they come out as the Cadaver Dans, and they are fantastic when they're doing that as well.
Right.
I just love their humor and their music, and it's a wonderful piece of Main Street that it's part of that whole streetmosphere atmosphere that that Disney creates, and I love that.
You know what's interesting? I love it, especially during Christmas. They put their Christmas garb on. And one time I was on Main Street doing my Main Street thing. I just love walking up and down Main Street alone. Just give me Mindy space and let me have my Main Street time. So I had gone into, there's a crystal store that's on Main Street, and I was in there, and they came in, and there was only two customers, like two of us. And they just started singing, like, in an empty store. And I look around and I'm like, what is going on? And then they, like, started serenading. And I don't want to say me, but there was only two of us. And we're just like, okay, cool. So I started recording them, and they just got so into it. They were singing Christmas carols. It was so amazing. And then people started hearing them, and they kind of gathered in the store. But what a treat just to have them come up to you and start singing. And they do. They just walk randomly around Main Street, and they'll just start
the random
singing.
Places that they pop up, riding the
Yes.
bike, riding the carousel, like
The horse-drawn carriage. They'll just start singing,
So
and you're like,
fun.
where is this?
And
it's
have you seen when, like, the little kids are dressed up just like them?
like them? They're so cute.
Yeah, it's so stinking cute.
Usually they'll get them and, like, have them be part of their little
I have
show.
4 kids. I should totally dress them up like that.
See, this is my problem is I sew costumes.
Oh,
So I'm like, you're going to wear this costume whether you like it or not. So my kids have gone through that. Like, you are dressing up like a Dapper Dan. In fact, I made a skirt that is a Dapper Dan, like my
Super
whole
cute.
dress that I'm wearing to Magic Kingdom. I'm going to wear it there and take some pictures on Main Street of the Dapper Dan outfit. I'm so excited. I love them. So thank you for sharing that. I love the Dapper Dans. Okay, Holly, what is something else you love about Main Street?
So, and I know you have one too, Mindy. When I was, I believe, 5 years old on Main Street, we went and had my silhouette done. And I love that they still do this. I think
Now, they don't have that at Magic Kingdom. Don't quote me on that, do they? Because it's somewhere. They have a little kiosk for it, but it's not an actual store.
Oh,
There's not one on, as far as I understand. There's one at Disneyland that is actually the thing, but you can still get that at Main Street Magic Kingdom. There's just a little space for it. I don't believe
like a character drawing type one.
Yeah, kind
I'll
of.
have to look into that. But yeah, so I still have mine from when I was 5 years old. I had Addison's done when she was about the same age. We still have it. Monroe has hers. I just love it. It's just so nostalgic and a really great souvenir.
I love it. And yes, it is so cute because you can get them, it really is the best souvenir you can have. So if you go to Disneyland, you guys, everybody needs to get a silhouette.
I'm trying to see if they're opened again because I know the last
that's a good point.
I know the last time they weren't because of the whole mask issue. You can't really get your silhouette done with the mask on. I don't think that would turn out so well. But so I need to see when those are
So what it is,
opening.
let me read this while you're looking. It says, for everyone, let's give a little story of the backstory of this. On July 18th, 1955, the Silhouette Studio on Main Street opened its doors. That's one day after the park opened. A guest, they can do a whole family in one silhouette, and the guest sits for a minute or so while a silhouette artist, and they cut their profile, the face of their profile, totally freehand, just by sight with a small, really sharp pair of scissors. It's mind-blowing. And you can go, they're just paper and scissors, and they cut this perfect silhouette of your face freehand. And you get 2 of them because it like mirrors it, so they give you 2 copies. and it's not that expensive. I want to say it's like $12.50, $13.
I was going to say 12.
And
Yeah,
you
so
can
it
buy
says
a really
60
cute
60
oval.
seconds.
Okay, and you can buy an oval shaped, looks antique, vintage
Yeah,
looking,
we have
like
one of those.
old type of. I guess it's a frame, and there's a hidden Mickey on it. But you can get them, and they are amazing. And you can actually have your picture done with a cast, like a character. So you can have it done with Mickey or Minnie or anything like that.
So,
It says you can
unfortunately,
still
it says
get
it's
yours.
closed.
For instance, Liberty Square in Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Just after crossing the bridge from the hub across from Sleepy Hollow is a stand tucked into the corner, and here is the artist can have those done. So they don't do them on Main Street at Magic Kingdom, but at Disneyland, be sure to pick up your silhouette if you go to Disneyland.
But I bet you they are doing them right now in Magic Kingdom because it's outside, right?
You're
so
right.
I bet you they can, whereas they can't in Disneyland because it's inside a studio. So,
I think you're correct with that.
so maybe they need to move it outside.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Pick those up and get your mini ears, because you have to, if you're going to Disney, be sure to get a silhouette and a pair of Mickey ears. Those two are my go-to souvenirs for anybody who's never been. I tell them to get those two things because you have to go home with a pair of Mickey ears and a silhouette. So I love that tip. So thank you. And there's so many more things about Main Street. Do you have anything else, Justin, that you want to share with us?
Well, I'm going to share another thing that it might be a little unique. I love getting my hair cut.
Oh, see, that's not
so
at
cool.
Disneyland. That is so cool.
Mhm.
So there's been at least twice now I've been at Disney World, and I got my hair cut right there on Main Street.
Wow. Can girls go get your hair cut there? Or is it's a barber shop, so I'm not sure, but are you allowed to if you're a girl?
You can, and I do know that they have your first haircut. So you can go there and get your very first haircut, and they give you like a little certificate too, saying this was your first haircut. And
So cute.
I don't know what else, but I know there's something else, like a pin or something. But if I'd had known this, I probably would have flown all the way over to get my boy's first haircut.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Because that's such a cute thing, because first haircuts
Right?
are always a big deal. So like that would be super cute. And
I should have my nephew do that because he has
You
never
should.
gotten his hair cut. Oh, that's the best.
Justin's like,
have
I
to say,
still have
it
that
wasn't exactly my
certificate.
first haircut. I was a bit older than that.
Little bit.
But
They'll give you a
but
sucker.
they did sprinkle my hair with like the glitter and everything.
Oh
when I
my
was
gosh,
done.
that's hilarious.
That is so funny.
So we got
So-
like the pictures and the glitter and everything, and it was a wonderful time. And it's also a really good haircut. So that's all.
I love that.
Honestly, that's why I went back. And if I could go there every time to get my
Get your haircut.
instead
You
of-
go to Disney.
right?
I would totally do that.
That's so
Because
magical.
it's not overly expensive either, right? Like
No, it
it's,
was-
like
It
I wouldn't
decently
think it was
priced.
more
There's
than
so many things at
$20.
Disney that is ridiculously overpriced, but that's actually not one of them.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
pretty
I'm pretty
reasonable.
sure I had looked it up before, and I was like, really? Especially for her first haircut, because
That's
I was
so cute.
really. Maybe I'll look it up and see.
That's adorable. Yeah, while you're doing that. So my last thing, since we're almost out of time and there's so many wonderful things to talk about Main Street. If I were to say two more, is when you're going in the shops, you guys stop and look up. I will say that till I'm blue in the face. Each store, when you go to Disney, it feels a different way because it's the way they do the props and the Main Street windows. All of them are curated to take you back to an era of nostalgia. And that's kind of my dream job. If I were going to be a cast member, I'd want to be a VIP tour guide or a window dresser. And what's really funny is I actually pulled up on Disneyland's website once and it said, we are hiring for a Main Street window designer. And I almost applied. I was like, I should just go live with my cousin and just move in for a few months for summer, take the dream job. Because that's what I do for
So
a
I have
living.
to say, Mindy,
And it's
every single
amazing.
time I go into a store or whatever on Main Street, I hear you in my head saying,
Look up.
look up. And I do. And I really never did. I do so many things now from being on this podcast that I never
Slow
did
down
before.
and look up, right?
But yeah, so I always
So what
hear
have you
in my-
seen when you look up? So let's look at this. So when you go into the toy store, there's a toy store behind, it's right next to Carnation Cafe. It's at the end right next to the restrooms. Go in there and look up. It's the entire, there's a train that goes all the way around, and you can actually see Peter Pan and all of they're little cute toys that are just sitting up there, and there's a train that goes around, and it's so cute. It's like, it's kind of done after Wendy Darling and the nursery that's set up in there, and it's so cute. But just look up. Look at all the things that they stick in there, the props. It makes you feel a certain way because of those little props that you don't really realize that are there. In fact, if you go into the Emporium on Main Street at Disneyland, there's actually I don't want to say they're animatronics, but they're up there, and one of them's a dentist, and he's like giving
It's so funny.
And then the ones cutting hair, you can see them up on this little area. It's like a perch thing, and you can see them up there. It's really cool. There's so much to see, and I just love going in there just to look at them. But the best part of Main Street, while we close this out, and if you guys wouldn't agree, the best part of Main Street is to watch the fireworks from Main Street USA. Would you say that's the best place to watch them from?
Especially now that they have the projections,
Oh,
because
it's the
that
best.
just bring oh my gosh, like I am obsessed with the projections.
Yes,
So-
it's immersive, and they
It's-
bring it like
Well,
Yeah,
and now
they blow
they're gonna
up the
bring them
dolls
down Main
and-
Street as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
which they've had them like that at Disneyland. So
and that's
I'm
coming
used.
to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
now.
I want to interrupt you really quickly. I got the prices for the haircut.
Oh, good.
And $18 for a child, $25 for the first haircut, and $19 for adults. That is
What?
crazy. And for the first haircut, you get Mickey ears. Like,
Oh,
and
it says first haircut. That's right. And they actually put it in a little box. They make a little kit for you, and they
Yes,
take a
with the
cut
lock
of
the
hair,
Yeah,
and they say first
$25?
hair.
Are you kidding me?
So it
Can I
really
do
is
this
like-
now?
Yeah, so it's like $6 for that, I guess. If you looked at the price of the difference, for $6, they'll give you the ears and then the lock of
crazy.
hair.
Love it. Oh my gosh.
That's such a cool tip. Thanks. So take your kids to the first haircut there, because
Yeah.
they only do it at Magic Kingdom. So don't cut your kids' hair till you fly to Magic Kingdom.
It looked like Cousin It.
Yeah, like don't cut her hair. Just keep it going. Keep it growing. They might be 3 years old, but dang it, they're going to get a haircut on Main Street. So there's so many fun things to see and do on Main Street USA. I love watching the fireworks from Main Street USA. Do either one of you have anything else fun to say before we go? Holly, what else do you want to say?
I want to say, well, first of all, every time I leave now, I have to say goodnight to Walt when we're walking out the door at
Isn't that the
Disneyland.
truth?
Yeah, but one of the last times that Chris and I went in May, and it was still at 25% capacity, so we had a lot of downtime just to look around at the details, and there wasn't fireworks, but we were able to go up on the train station because it wasn't crowded, and we sat on the bench and just
Aw.
sat there looking at the beautiful castle. And I wish there were fireworks at that time, because that would have been glorious to watch from that location. But it was something that we've never done before, as simple as just sitting there and taking it all in, watching everybody walk around Main Street, and just loved it so much.
Isn't that the best? What you remember most about Disney, though, are those moments.
Right.
The moments,
exactly.
and it's the sight and the sounds. You
Mhm.
can't replicate that. It's a feeling when you're sitting there on a bench
Exactly.
and it's so quiet, and you just hear Disney
Which,
sounds.
if you know me, that's unusual for me to just sit somewhere. Like, I don't
Oh,
sit anywhere.
I sit like I'm just like, leave me alone in my quiet space. Give me my
So that was-
Mindy time.
That was really different for me, and really nice, especially just him and I sitting there
Isn't
and
that the best?
like
Mhm.
being, back home and just relaxing. Just love
It's a
it so much.
feeling. You
Mhm.
can't replicate that.
It
Thank
really
you for
was.
sharing that.
Mhm.
Hey, Justin, and what else? Is there
Yeah,
anything else?
I was just going to say that Main Street USA, I mean, it is your first introduction to the park. It's the first thing you see when you walk in, and it's the last thing you see when you're leaving. And so there's so much emotion just tied up in Main Street itself because of that.
Exactly.
The first time you walk in, you see that castle at the end of Main Street. That has an emotion. And when you're leaving at the end of the night, you take that last look back
Mhm.
and you wish you could stay longer.
Mhm.
And so
I
there's
know.
so much emotion that is tied up in it that even if it wasn't for all of the fantastic details, there would still be so much emotion tied up in Main Street. So that is the thing to remember, that Main Street is that emotion, that feeling. That's your Magic Kingdom. That's your Disneyland right there.
Amen to that. And closing that out, I think we all have done it, and just saying goodnight to Walt and the window and his lamp. And what I do, it's our family's tradition, is the last thing up on, we take the last trip around from Main Street Railroad and just take a full loop around, get off, and that's the last attraction we do. It's kind of our closing thing.
Mhm.
And we just at night take that last loop and get off, say goodnight, and just say until then, we'll be back in a few weeks, and we see him again. But Main Street is the first thing you see and the last thing you see, and what a trip. So we love Main Street USA. Thank you for coming around with us on this Grand Circle tour, and let's take it home. And thank you, and take it away, Ken. Good night, everybody. What a fun one, you guys. That was a great one.
That was sweet.
If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tours Magical Ticket Holders. While you're on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tours. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tours Podcast, as well as on Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. If you would like to email us, drop us a line at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule: make it good. All logos, sounds, songs, and music that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are the full ownership of the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
Please exit to your left by stepping away from the cars with your left foot first. Step out and stand on the moving platform, please.
Please exit by stepping away from the cars with your left foot first. Step out and stand on the moving platform, please.